Here I am going to talk about few things that Gary has proposed to talk. And the things that I'll be discussing will be my background in advocacy for kids and their education, especially for disabled and underprivileged kids. And then NAB Delhi's mission. The third point that I will be discussing will be my role as communications officer of the National Association for the Blind Delhi. It is also known as NAB Delhi in short form that I might be using. And then NAB Delhi's activities that relate to deaf blind kids and adults. If you have any questions, you can ask me at the end of the presentation. And if you think something, if you want to something in ask something even in between, you can ask me. But it's better that we keep it at end. So first, let me tell you something about my background first, so that you understand me better as a person. So I have a very affluent upbringing. I came from a well-to-do family in a remote village of a very small place in the state Jharkhand. The name is Giridih. I'm sure most of you wouldn't even have heard of the name of the place I belong to. And there I had the only big villa in a place where they were all huts, and I saw many people coming to my house and working in the fields and other things to earn a living. And to my shock, as a little kid, most of the kids of those people who came to work were not going to any school at all. This was something totally opposite of what my father told me, that education is every child's right. It is very important. So as a child myself, I started teaching them as and when I could. I started teaching their parents as well. And then I started teaching the kids. I must tell you, those kids weren't going to school. And even if they were going, only the male children went to the school, not the female children. So then I started teaching them in the evening, and seeing my passion, my family helped me open up a school in the premises of my home, in the veranda, where I started teaching them. So this gave me lots of happiness and satisfaction, because now they could write their names, they could do maths, and whatever I learned, I could share with them. Then I became the student ambassador and president of an NGO, Dharma Bharati. And as a part of that, I was instrumental in opening 3 schools in other remote areas of my town, where children were not going to schools, and again, especially girl children weren't allowed to go to schools. During my work with this NGO as a student myself, I witnessed some special kids, and I realized there was no concept of providing education to them, as there was no knowledge that they can be educated too, and there were no facilities also for providing education to them. This struck me hard. And then during my college, I worked with another NGO that catered to the needs and education of children with AIDS, and had a section of children with multiple disabilities. And when I was working with this NGO, I realized that the kids with multiple disabilities, only few of them went to schools. Otherwise, they were not being provided any sort of education. On inquiring the reason, I was told that special children require specialized education, which is not which the facility cannot provide. And then this was the time that I realized that this is a sector that we should be working actively on, and education is for everyone. It's just that we provide the education that somebody requires, and then there's nobody who cannot learn and who cannot empower themselves. I was working with MNC. After that, after my education, I was working in a big firm, but I wasn't having satisfaction and a feeling of achievement or self happiness there. And then I decided to work full-fledgedly in the social sector. This is when the opportunity to work with NAB Delhi came to me. When I went there, I saw happy faces. I saw empowerment. I saw people working efficiently using computer, using technological aids. And I saw many success stories there. And my first day at NAB Delhi was the day when maximum people touched my hands, held my hands in my entire life. Now I feel a sense of personal fulfillment and pride in contributing to the community. So this was a short, this was my journey in short, so that you can know who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Now I'll be talking about NAB Delhi's mission. NAB Delhi's mission is Tamso Ma Jyotir Gamaya, which is a Sanskrit line that means, "O Divine Mother, lead us from darkness to light." And we believe in growth with dignity, which is a vision for people with visual impairments and other disabilities as well. NAB Delhi has been serving children and adults with visual impairment for the past 45 years. It has organized a variety of programs for children with visual impairment and additional disabilities. The vision of the association is to enable visually impaired children to lead a purposeful and dignified life in the society, to provide free, quality, inclusive education to visually impaired children, to provide technological training to people with visual impairment. So now I'll be talking about services at NAB Delhi. So NAB has a pre-integration unit that takes in children from the age of 5 to 9. Then they are given basic technological and learning skills. They are taught to do basic things such as opening their own bags. They are given mobility training, and they are actually in the process getting ready to be integrated to regular schools, wherein they study at the same time with the regular sighted children. They don't attend some extra special classes. In the evening, they come back to NAB to get further educational and technological assistance to keep up with their regular schooling. Then NAB has a Center for Multiple Disability. which provides intervention and services for visually impaired children with additional disabilities and deaf blindness. This center was set up in the year 1994. NAB has hostel facilities for children wherein more than 160 children are accommodated right now. We have digital library, braille and large print unit. NAB has a robust helpline system which has been operating and providing technological assistance to visually impaired since September 2006, working passionately to update the latest technology that is available. NAB has a technology training center that is one of the most thought out center of NAB that gives computer training and assistive technology training to blind persons of all age groups. Now I'll be talking about my role as NAB Delhi's communication officer. So my role is not just limited to traditional communication, but I am working here as a dynamic professional. My job is to showcase milestone and achievements of the kids and the empowering stories. Believe me, they are doing exceptionally well. They're doing great in sports, great in music. They get award from the CM of Delhi or so many big people. Strategizing communication with stakeholders. I make strategies for communication. Developing newsletters, reports, annual reports in any form of written and many oral communication for the organization. Crafting posters and signage for effective communication. I try to ensure that all communication going by me is accessible. I'm actively involved in fundraising initiatives of the organization. Promotion of products made by young adults with multiple disabilities. Contributing in new innovation. So these are some of the roles that I am involved in at my organization. And now I'll be talking about NAB activities that relate to deaf, blind kids and adults. NAB has a dedicated center for multiple disabilities that has kids having deaf blindness and adults having deaf blindness also. So NAB is truly inclusive. By inclusive, I mean all these kids are included in the assembly. Even in the assembly is one part of it. Some are given sign, some are given sign on the hand, and some with total deaf blindness are made to do the assembly with the teacher holding hand. So the kids are given personalized education, and the personalized education plan are made to ensure adaptation and empowerment of these kids. Some kids, unfortunately, who are devoid of early intervention by the parents, and cannot be integrated to the society are here getting vocational training in the Vocational Training Center of NAB, and they are making beautiful handicraft products and learning skills to earn a living. They are getting computer training, skill development, therapy and counseling, involvement in activities and events such as marathon, all other activities inside the schools, celebration of festivals, celebrations of any event. And then NAB every year conducts annual regional training on deaf blindness, which is supported by Sense International India, in which the trainers of NAB gives training to special educators coming from all around Indian states to be better equipped to provide personalized education to kids with deaf blindness. Then the other activity that relates to deaf blind kids and adults at NAB is the Regional Learning Center on Deaf Blindness, which is like a world where each and every person with deaf blindness and multisensory impairment can enjoy full rights. This was established in the year 2001. It is first center of North India that cater the unique need of children with deaf blindness. In the year 2007, Sense India recognized NAB as Regional Learning Center for Deaf Blindness to develop service for children with deaf blindness in the North. The strategies that are adopted in this center are building capacity, organizing many leadership workshops, organizing training workshops on deaf blindness, preparation of information materials, and home-based services that include rehabilitation. I was asked a question about services of NAB Delhi for assistive technology and higher education. So I would like to address that. NAB has a 3-month diploma courses on assistive technology. This course includes training in using technology, soft skills, body language, and provides job assistance. The course includes road safety and mobility training also. The question about this was asked by some low vision child studying in 12th. I suppose Gary forwarded this question to me, so I'm answering that. We have a WhatsApp group and mailing list for circulation of any new app, information on usage, and tip on assistive technology. And we would be happy if any person here or if you know somebody could be benefited by this WhatsApp group. And recently, NAB has partnered in a new innovation, which is Shravan Services, which is an innovative collaboration with United Way of Delhi. And it is going to give access to educational materials, books, and news over a simple phone call. All you have to do is call a number and then it will give you access to books and newspaper and news and educational materials, making education more accessible. And then NAB Delhi has assistive technology helpline. This was established in 2006. It is dedicated to empower visually impaired via assistive technology. It has efficient information collection and distribution, utilize many communication channels to ensure the message is widespread. The message that spreads through helpline is about education, vocational training, job opportunities and placement, assistive technology for the blind, accessibility of reading material, rehabilitation centers contact, challenges faced by the visually impaired. It caters to the unique information need. The reach of the helpline is all around India. It has a nationwide reach. So the impact of the helpline intervention has been great. We had many success stories who contacted us via the helpline and got training and assistance. One is of Sahib Singh, who faced vision difficulties and who lost vision before completing school. NAB Delhi's helpline intervention gave him comprehensive advice and support. He could obtain a disability certificate, a pension, and he was enrolled for correspondence schooling, and he received computer training and accessible book from NAB. Then there was Supreet, who is a 30-year-old low vision who works at Tech Mahindra. She contacted NAB helpline team before lockdown, installed NVDA screen reading software by our assistants, and she got tremendous assistance in signing into official email, and she was able to work during the COVID times. So this was all. I think I tried answering the questions that were put forward to me. So this was all I had to say. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask, and I would try to answer them. If I don't have answer, I'll get back to you.
This is Jerry. Thank you so much, Bhawna. Now
You're welcome, Jerry.
I know we've talked a lot about the services in NAB, but even in this talk, I'm learning more services that are offered by NAB. I would like to now request others to ask your questions. You can turn on your video when you want to ask your question. Divya has a question.
This is Divya. I have a question.
Yeah, Divya.
This is Divya speaking. I wanted to ask you, what is your expectation and your goal for deafblind children with education? I know you spoke a lot about technology and assistive technologies.
So as I said,
have you discussed anything about interveners or who works with the deafblind children the teachers should be working with them one-on-one, because that interveners can't be with them all day at home. They typically will have to travel out around in the field. So teachers are not able to stay one-on-one with those deafblind children all day long. Will they have interveners that can work with them?
The teachers
Are
do
they able
not. Yeah. Let her. Sorry. Is there anything else she wants to ask?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. See, so NAB has a student to teacher ratio of 4:1. That is about, this ratio I'm telling about students with only visual impairment. But the ratio is even less for students with additional disabilities such as deaf blindness. This is because the teacher can give more attention and specialized education on one-on-one basis that the kid requires. It's true the teacher cannot be with the student all the time. So for that, we have time to time counseling and training session with the parents, so that the parents are empowered enough to know how to look after the kids well, which is very much important because the kid has to spend time with the parent and the family. So this is how this is looked after. We have regular counseling, motivation, and training session with the parents.
This is Divya. Okay.
Okay, so Divya, could I
This is
answer
Holly
your
speaking.
question?
Divya says, yes, you've answered my question.
Okay.
I just wanted to make that suggestion about if we needed to add interveners into that process, because interveners are able to provide more benefit on a one-on-one basis, because they're able to provide those hands-on skills with an intervener working with the student. They can work together and be able to get fully included rather than having one teacher who is trying to deal with several different students. Here in America, we really don't have interveners so much. In Canada, we did have interveners who could work with us one-on-one. And so that really did improve my experience with education as a deafblind student. So I feel like that is really very critical to have that one-on-one education. I wanted to make sure that we were aware of that, so that it's really, really great to have that available in India for the kids in those communities. It's just amazing to see that the way that they can go all the way through even college with that kind of accessibility. And I had an intervener with me all the way up through college as well.
That's great. That's excellent. But trust me, as much as I have seen with deaf blind kids, there's a dedicated teacher all the time at NAM, which has made me feel very happy because they're getting much attention by the teacher. Taking them to the lab, always signing with them. That is what I have seen.
This is Divya. Okay, great. And just to let you know, this is Holly speaking. It seems we lost Jerry for a moment, but she's back now.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Jerry. None of my, I have two internet providers. Both of them went down at the same time. I don't know. I am so sorry. But please go ahead.
And this is Holly speaking. I'm just noticing the time. It's a good time for an interpreter switch.
All right, go ahead. I'm going to spotlight Madhu. All right.
Do you have any other question?
This is Jerry. Neelam, you had mentioned to me a while back that you wanted to ask Bhavna some questions.
Hi. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I forgot to share my sign language name when I was making the introduction. So let me say that it is letter N, the alphabet N, near the eye, the right eye. Thank you, Bhavna. That was a beautiful presentation and we learned a lot.
You're welcome, Neelam.
And I wanted to understand, what are the current educational laws and policies that the children have in India, and how does education happen if the child is not going to a specialized blind school?
See, if
Thank
a
you.
child, you're welcome. About the policies and rule, I thought of adding up, but I thought it would make the presentation very lengthy, so I did not add that part. But let me find the information to it. Just a minute. Yes. So the first part was that what are the rules and laws of providing education, special education, right, Neelam?
Yes.
Okay. So CBSE has policy formulation, such as it has inclusive education policy that provides guidelines to affiliated schools, that gives directives on admission, examination, accommodation, and adaptation of curriculum for students with disabilities. And this is guided by candidates with such as candidates by disabilities as defined in the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. So this is an act that provides all the guidelines that the affiliated school has to follow. So there's an inclusive curriculum added that gives flexibility and inclusivity guidelines for adapting teaching and assessment methods that caters to diverse learning needs. Then there's accessibility standards, which provides guidelines such as physical accessibility, assistive technologies, and appropriate learning materials that the schools should include in order to cater and assist the student with disabilities to study. This might include simple things such as provision for ramps at school, having accessible classrooms and other facilities. The CBSE also provides guidelines that the school must have training and capacity building, such as training program for teachers and school administrators to have inclusive education practices. Even the examination should be accommodative. That includes giving extra time, having a scribe, giving enlarged question papers, or the use of assistive devices that which ensures that all students have equal opportunities to demonstrate their skills and knowledge and be able to study and have higher education. So these are the government guidelines. The government provide these guidelines to school, but in practice, I don't think all of them are being practiced by all schools, because some students, I have heard some students complain that everything has not been practiced, but the government has given all these guidelines. Also, the government gives guidelines that all schools must appoint special educators, and then there should be sensitization and awareness, and they should collaborate and support organizations that cater to the educational need of kids with special needs, such as NGOs and others organizations that are experts in field of education, inclusive education, I must say. Then CBSE also provides guidelines to have proper monitoring and evaluation that are in par with the inclusivity standards. I hope I'm not going too fast. Am I? Can the interpreters? Is my speech speed fine?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. And then NCERT also provides many guidelines to ensure that children with special needs get quality education, such as the NCERT stands for National Council of Educational Research and Training. It is committed to promote inclusive education. Then it has introduced Pratham Books, which is a non-profit organization dedicated to provide high quality, affordable children's books in multiple languages. Pratham Books provide accessible reading material that can be large print, braille and audio format. It has inclusive storytelling, and it has many collaborative initiatives, such as Pratham Book partners with many organizations and workshop to promote inclusive reading habit. NCERT also provides curriculum framework and guidelines of inclusion. And then there is National Education Policy 2020 and Inclusive Education, which is also a government policy that caters to ensure that kids with special needs get education that they deserve and they have the right to get. So the National Education Policy, also known as NAB, is focused on universal access in early childhood care and education, is focused on foundational literacy and numeracy, providing intervention for learning with diverse learning needs. It ensures that the curriculum is flexible and multidisciplinary and gives customized learning to students with disabilities. The NAP has focus on visual impairment and disabilities as well. It talks about early intervention, which would ensure timely identification of visual impairment and disabilities, and then provide the student with individualized support plan for each child that would help the student a lot. NAP also focuses on providing accessible learning materials such as braille, audio resources, tactile materials, and assistive technology. And it focuses on training educators and support staff so that the education system of India have specialized training for teachers, and the student with special needs can benefit from that. So Neelam, those are few of the government policies. But in the true sense, if we talk about the reality of what is happening, students who belong to remote area are still being devoid of education because of the lack of awareness and illiteracy amongst the parents to understand the need of education for kids with special needs. So that is something which is still worrisome. That is the truth. But government has given all these policies. Could I answer your question, Neela?
Hi, Bhavna. This is Neelam.
Hi.
Thank you so much for answering the questions. I just wanted to give my personal experience when I was in Bangalore.
Yes.
So I was in Bangalore between 2010 and 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And that time, my son was entering the school system. He was in kindergarten, and my daughter was 6, 7 months old. We went to a very reputed private school for my son's admission, and he was way ahead when he was admitted in kindergarten and already knew all his alphabets, numbers, could read words. So they were very happy to take him. And at that time, my son had severe to profound hearing loss, no vision impairment, and he used to wear hearing aids. When he finished his kindergarten, when he moved to senior kindergarten, that is when we started having challenges because now they were teaching him, introducing Hindi, and my son did not know Hindi because we had moved from USA back to India, and he had absolutely no idea about the language. And that is where the teacher used his hearing impairment, telling us that because he's hard of hearing and deaf, they do not have the resources to teach him. We had provided the school system, the FM system to use, which used to go directly in his ears. And the only request we had that the teacher wears the FM system when she's speaking and she's teaching in the class. And that was an inconvenience for the teacher. She did not want to use. And we were called, so the school name is Vibgyor, Vibgyor. And we were called and we were told to withdraw him and send him to a school which is for the deaf. And we were told that it is lofty of us to think that a deaf child can study in a oral mainstream school. They do not have the resources. We should focus on teaching him sign language. Even though my child was oral and he had started losing his hearing at the age of 2. So it was a post-lingual hearing loss for him. It was not his, speaking was his natural and normal way of communication with the outside world. And I told them that, can they give me their policy in writing that I should withdraw him because he is deaf? And that was the time they got very scared. And then they said, no, what we can do is that we can give you the lesson materials. He can come to school for social interaction, but all his education is your responsibility. We do not have the capacity to address his needs. So, that was the time when we started for the next 1.5 years. I was his primary teacher. I used to go every week and I used to get the printed material from the school. And then my son would come. He would leave for school at 8 a.m., come back at 4 p.m. And then in the evening, that small 6 years old would sit down with me for another 2-3 hours to go over everything that had happened in the class that day. And then my daughter, around that time, she was about 2.5 years old, and she got very sick, and she started losing her vision. And that is when we realized that we have to find something else for our children, because if they could not educate my child with just hearing loss, how are they going to educate my child, younger one, my daughter, who has both hearing loss and vision loss? And she did not need braille because, again, even though she was losing her vision, she was still a functional visual learner, and she needed large print. So we were totally lost. That was the time my husband actively started looking for opportunities in USA, because it almost felt like USA is more home to us than India. Even though my husband and I were born and raised in India, we really did not know anything about special education law, my children's right, and where they can go for education. It almost seemed like no one wanted them. And we were lucky that we were able to come back here in 2013. And then my daughter had another set of challenges, because she ended up having also dyslexia on top of being deafblind. And in USA, children who have multiple disabilities, even though like in India they have educational rights, really no one is educating them. So that was another story which I don't want to get into, but I'm happy to share later on if anyone wants to know. So even though we have been here, and my son, he's graduating from high school this year, he got admitted into 4 colleges, all on his
Really
merit.
great.
Yes, I have always been troubled by the idea that I could escape, I could come here. But what about all other children who are there? I can tell you, even in big cities, you were saying in rural, even in big cities, education is not happening for our children with disabilities. Even if, whether they are hard of hearing, whether they are deaf, whether they are low vision, whether they are braille, none of the schools are admitting them. They're not providing them accessible materials. They're not training the teachers. And my problem with the government of India has always been that writing policies is easy. It is the implementation of those policies and creating the infrastructure. So I wanted to understand, are there any level work happening with where the parents can come together, where we can share the concerns, because every child deserves education in the place that they are. They don't need to relocate. They don't need to move to another place to go there. And second is that children should be able to get education with non-disabled children, and they should not be going to a specialized schools, because that is segregation. And research shows that children learn best when they are challenged with their non-disabled peers, and they grow the most. So I just wanted to ask about this. I'm sorry, it's very long that I've spoken, but it's so important as a parent for us, especially parents who are now getting diagnoses, who have young children, to understand what can we do, where do we go, how do we make it possible.
Neelam, I do understand there's still lots of work to be done here, with in the part of both in the part of government and also in the part of like-minded people like us here, who think education is every kid's right. So as a mother, I could feel, being a mother myself, how tough it would have been for you to not know how your kid is going to study, but you but mothers have, mothers can fight for their children's right and for their children's happiness with the world, and you have proven that. And your son getting admission to 4 colleges is a testament to your unwavering support and determination, and your sons too. So big applause to that. But yes, you are very right. Still, there's lots of work to be done in this field for development of simple empathy and understanding. Wearing a simple device for a teacher should not be a problem. Understanding that this gesture can help a child get educated, but people lack empathy. I don't know why and how can they lack empathy in these issues, but they really do lack empathy. That's true, but the the place where I work and I like working there is because it believes in providing education in the mainstream education. So our kids are getting education in top schools. They're reintegrated into top schools and they're studying in the same time with regular sighted children. So this is one part of my organization's work that makes me very happy. They're not getting some special time in where they're getting educated separately or something. No, they're studying at the same class timings, sitting with the regular sighted children. This part is making me very happy, and we have panel of schools that are helping us, and they even come to NAB to get training to be able to teach special kids in a better manner. We have RV, we have Kendriya Vidyalaya, we have many such schools in which our kids are going in the regular school timings. In the evening, they are coming back to NAB to brush up their skills, to get more technological assistance and training, to be at par with their studies. So this part of this organization is something I really love. But if you talk about the whole country, I really agree. There's lots of work still to be done in order to empower and the kids as well, and educate school systems and education system to be more inclusive. That's really true.
Thank you so much, Bhavna. This is Neelam. I cannot tell you how happy and proud I am to hear that NAB Delhi is doing such wonderful work in the field of education. My heartfelt thank you for the entire team for doing this. Is it possible for you to share your presentation? You said that you will send it to Jerry,
Yes,
but
I
I
will.
also wanted to, yes, please. Thank you so much. And do you have association or tie-ups in other part of the country or only in Delhi?
We the place where I work is known as NAB Delhi, but NAB has centers, 44 centers all across India. So
Okay.
we all work in sync with each other. We have the same motto and principle to work with. My organization is based out of RK Puram, Delhi, but NAB has 44 centers all across India.
Thank you so much, Bhavna.
You're welcome, Neelam.
This is Jerry. I have a question for Bhavna.
Yes, Jerry.
You had mentioned a lot of the new rules, especially from NEPT. I was wondering, if a school is not willing to provide facilities to a student, what can the parents do to
yeah.
What can the parents do? I mean, I know, like Neelam mentioned that in her case it was more than 10 years ago, but I wonder if things have changed now with all these rules. Can parents approach, say, the Ministry of Education?
Yes, they
or
can.
Something?
They can challenge it to the court, and they can approach the Ministry of Education. And on these grounds of these educational policies, I'm sure the intervention of the court or the ministers should be in favor of the parents, because these guidelines have been made in order to make education inclusive. So I'm sure that they can challenge it and contact and seek help.
This is Jerry. I know the legal process is still long here in India. Maybe perhaps since NAB has branches all across the country, even though a parent can make such complaints to the Ministry of Education, I think one thing that we can do is, for example, those living in Mumbai, we can perhaps get the services of NAB Mumbai, because it will take time. I may complain about the school where my kids are going now, but how quickly can they get their teachers trained, for example, or if it's something as simple as wearing an FM system or like putting a ramp or something, that might be quick, but to actually have a teacher trained for special education, that will take time unless a special education teacher is actually sent to that school and assigned to my child. But knowing that there is NAB Mumbai, if ever I need such facilities close by, I know that NAB has branches all across the country. That is great.
Yes, it is, but the management is different. And
yes.
Personally, I don't know much about NAB Mumbai. I have met few people at NAB Mumbai, but I don't know. But I'm sure if you would contact them, they would cater you with some support. Yeah.
This is Jerry. It's also great to hear that there is a helpline
Yes.
that we can avail of.
Yes.
It's almost time for the end of this meeting. If you can kindly share your contact information in the chat box.
Yes.
So it will be recorded as well.
Mm-hmm.
I will also share my contact information there. Whoever has any questions, need a copy of your presentation, I can send it to them. So if you can put your contact information in the chat box also.
Okay.
Jerry, this is Neelam. I think
Yes?
Divya had a question for Bhawna.
Go ahead.
Divya has the question for Bhawna. Divya, did you have a question?
Yes, hi, Divya here.
Hi, Divya.
I think we should hold off sending the email. We've run out of time and there's so much more that we can discuss, I think, in greater depth. So I would like to see this conversation continued in future meetings.
And by email.
And also by email.
Divya, I've sent my official email ID in the chat box.
Thank you, Bhavna. I see that. I also sent my email ID there. That is actually email ID for all of the ambassadors. I'm also going to put my WhatsApp contact number.
And Gary, I'll be sharing you my presentation and also the presentation about educational policies as well that might help anybody in need.
This is Jerry. Yes, Bhavna. I will send to the group the updated file.
And also I will send you the helpline number so that anybody who needs some assistance might get connected with the helpline.
That would be great. That would really be great. So thank you, everyone, for attending this call. And thank you, interpreters.
Thank you, everyone, for calling me here. This is Bhavna. And listening to me, I hope whatever I spoke could have been of help to somebody. If my information was useful, that would make me very happy. It's lovely talking to all of you today. Thank you, Jerry, for this opportunity.
This is Jerry. Thank you, Bhavna, for really agreeing to give a presentation here. I will let you know also once the recording and the transcript is available.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Good night and good morning.